Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for another video. Today we actually have some Battlefront related news to cover, which is a first in quite a while. We have a leak to go over today that includes some information on where Battlefront 3 is in the development process, as well as a few details on which new heroes and locations they're planning on focusing in on in early marketing for the game. Keep in mind this is a leak, it's not confirmed information directly from EA, but it is worth pointing out that the leak does seem to check out, at least somewhat. An image was provided of a new map being worked on in the Frostbite engine, which by all accounts does seem real. So far no one on Reddit or Twitter or anywhere has been able to figure out where the image is from, and if it was a fake, some Twitter detective can usually figure out where the image was sourced from in about 5 minutes, and no one has been able to do that. On top of that, none of the leaked information is unbelievable by any stretch. It all seems very realistic, and the information given is kind of random, scattered information with just a few details on completely different parts of the game, which, you know, real leaks are often like this. They aren't usually super neat because they're just whatever info someone can get from a source. The other thing with all leaks is that the person releasing the information can't exactly say who they got it from specifically, because if they say, hey, Cletus who works on the 4th floor at DICE told me all of this, well guess what, Cletus doesn't have a job now, and the person leaking this information no longer has a source, so it's kind of a lose-lose situation. Anyway, let's just get into the actual leak, which was posted on the Gaming Leaks subreddit, which just covers all gaming leaks and rumors, not just Star Wars. There are 6 bullet points which we'll take on one at a time, each with a different piece of information. First up is some info on the marketing of the game, which apparently is going to put a heavy focus on Ahsoka and Coruscant as the first big marketing hook. The leaker even points this out, but this is very similar to how Darth Maul and Naboo were kind of the focus of the first Battlefront 2 trailer. Leading up to release, what people were dying to see was prequel content, and what better way to get people clamoring to buy the sequel to the first Battlefront than showing off Maul and Yoda in the very first trailer. Of course, at the time, people thought Maul and Yoda were going to be the first of many prequel heroes that would be available at launch, which obviously wasn't the case. It ended up just being those two, plus Chewie and Bosk, I guess, if you want to count them. Anyway, with Battlefront 3, the marketing focus needs to be on what was left out of Battlefront 2, and I don't think there is a character that better represents missing content in Battlefront 2 than Ahsoka. Myself and like 80% of the community were hoping for an Ahsoka reveal for so long, and right when we started thinking we were going to get it, support was cut, and it's been close to confirmed that both Ahsoka and Ventress were in the works at the time support was ended, which is just a gut punch. So, Battlefront 3 focusing in on Ahsoka and Coruscant in the early marketing is a no-brainer. I mean, there are a lot of locations that need to show up in future games, but Coruscant is without question the big one. That was a gaping hole in Battlefront 2's map lineup. Speaking of Coruscant, this leak did include an image of the map apparently in progress, very early in the process, but a leaked image nonetheless. As I pointed out earlier, no one has been able to debunk this image as a fake. Usually when someone provides a fake image, it's really easy to figure out where they ripped it from, because finding images by reverse searching on the internet is really easy, but this one appears to be original and genuine. At least right now, no one has been able to debunk this whatsoever. And you can see in the top left that the map in progress is being worked on in the Frostbite engine, which isn't an open source program. The only people that have access to it are those who are working on games to be published by EA. Moving on though, and I'm very curious to hear everyone's thoughts on this because this is definitely going to be at least somewhat controversial if true, but Ahsoka, at least the first version of her that we will see, is said to be based on her look in The Mandalorian, aka Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka, who will also be voicing her, at least the Mandalorian version of her. This is either a bit of a curveball, because I think most of us would have expected Ashley Eckstein to be voicing the default version of Ahsoka, and for the default version of Ahsoka to be her Clone Wars appearance, or alternatively this makes perfect sense, but hear me out. On one hand, if the plan is for Ahsoka to have multiple premium appearances, with one or more based on her Clone Wars appearance with Ashley Eckstein voicing her, and another based on her appearance in The Mandalorian with Rosario Dawson's live-action look and voice, then this would be the best of both worlds. They are of course going to want to appeal to the Mandalorian fan base, which is a show that brought in a lot of new fans, not to mention a lot of fans who only know Ahsoka through Mando, and basing her appearance in the trailers on Rosario Dawson would definitely do that and get those fans' interest. On top of that, I can't imagine many diehard fans would care either way, as long as there is an option for Clone Wars era Ahsoka voiced by Eckstein, maybe even a Rebels look as well. Admittedly, that's a lot of work for a single hero, but It's not unheard of by any means. In Battlefront 2, we had young Han and Lando, which were completely different models and had fully re-recorded lines with new voice actors. Cosmetically, the only similarities old Han and Lando had with their young skins were the animations. Similarly, Boushh Leia was an appearance overhaul that replaced all of her lines, and if the plan is to go all in on cosmetics with Battlefront 3, they are going to need to put a focus on premium skins like those with new voice lines and different models. Battlefront 2 did a few skins like that early on, but then dropped the concept entirely, which was kind of annoying. Anyway, assuming this leak is legitimate, this Ahsoka situation will be something to keep an eye on. I can't imagine they wouldn't involve Ashley in some way, because for me, having Rosario voice Clone Wars era Ahsoka would be a little odd, and it would really suck to see Ashley get phased out of the voice acting side of things. The next 3 bullet points in this leak are all gameplay related, and I will say most of them are just kinda no-brainers. The first claims that co-op, or a co-op-like mode, is going to return in the next game, although the plan is to reduce how fast XP can be earned through that specific game mode. This makes sense. I mean, I can't imagine they would take a major step back and not have a non-competitive mode like co-op in the next game, because I know co-op is the go-to mode for many. It's not something I play all that often, or really at all, because I prefer Galactic Assault and HVV, but there is no denying how fast the mode makes ranking up. I mean, hero and infantry and reinforcement levels have a lot less meaning nowadays, because it's not exactly hard to just jump into co-op during triple XP and rank up your hero 30 levels in a very short amount of time. I have to wonder how many max level players you would even see online if it weren't for co-op making ranking up so easy. At the same time, the easy XP is very helpful for new players who are trying to unlock star cards and weapons, so hopefully they allow some kind of XP gain in whatever non-competitive mode they have planned. Also, just to combine 2 bullet points into one because they kinda go hand in hand, the star card and weapon loadout systems will apparently be reworked completely. All I have to say about this is, yeah, I really hope so, because the star card system in Battlefront 2 was kind of a mess. After they overhauled it, I suppose it was fine and it worked, but with 9 out of 10 heroes, you would have 3, maybe 4 different star cards that were clearly the best and were head and shoulders above every other card, and then you would just have a ton of other star cards that no one in their right mind would ever use. I will be very interested to see how they handle heroes the next time around. I don't want to lose the customization Battlefront 2 had and just go back to Battlefront 2015 style where every player's hero was exactly the same, but I would hope they find a better way to introduce some variety into things. When it comes to infantry loadouts like weapons and attachments, I mean, that was arguably even worse because 80% of the weapons almost never see any use because the best ones are just so much better than the rest. And each weapon only having 3 attachments available, of which you can only choose 2 at any given time, was so lame. Not to mention there are several attachments that are borderline useless, and in some cases just make the gun worse where it would otherwise shine. I will happily welcome a complete overhaul of anything to do with loadouts and customization moving forward, because that was something DICE really never got right, at least in my opinion, and I was the guy who was doing the star card guides and the star card loadouts, and once you knew how each star card worked and in what situation they were the best, it became very obvious that certain star cards were head and shoulders above others, and there was just no point in using like 80% of them at any given time. Finally, and this is the big one, Galactic Assault and Starfighter Assault will be merged into one large-scale game mode, at least according to this leak. This is the obvious step forward when it comes to gameplay in Battlefront 3. If they are going to take advantage of the next-gen consoles, we need seamless space-to-ground combat. It's what everyone was requesting before Battlefront 2 came out, and they can't possibly release another installment in the franchise without it. Otherwise, the next game won't be taking any steps forward when it comes to gameplay. With Battlefront 2, the big draw was covering all 3 eras. With Battlefront 3, the big draw to get a ton of people to purchase this game is going to be space-to-ground combat. It is the obvious next step, and regardless of this leak, I would genuinely be shocked if it doesn't happen, because it is such a no-brainer. It would be a complete joke if they don't go forward with it. We will see how this all plays out. I am very curious to hear what you guys think about this, especially the whole Ahsoka situation. I mean, May the 4th is coming up quick. It's just over a week away, and not long after that is EA Play 2021, so we should be getting some real solid news here very soon. These past couple of months have been incredibly dry when it comes to news, and that drought should be ending pretty quickly here. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy and could leave a like, I would definitely appreciate it. And if you are new around here, feel free to subscribe. With that said, thanks once again for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo.